Alright, YouTube, it's time for another one. This one's going to be about the ballroom and the alleged, which I am, not very trustworthy of pretty much anybody in our government, and the alleged shooting that took place there, or at least attempted shooting. Um, and just the amount of bullshit that I see um, that they've released that just you see people who are smiling during the event. You see people who are, you know, just kind of like acting like they like apathetic about the whole thing. Donald Trump wanted to continue if it was an actual shooter on the premise, I don't think anybody would be wanting to continue it. And Trump said he wanted to have it continue on. I mean, I really think one of the things, I think it makes perfect sense why this happened, or why it was staged, I should say, because basically, the one thing that Trump wants to make sure is on his side is the media, right? One, Trump has always had a love affair with the mainstream media, especially, not even just right wing. He's always had like some level of like, I don't know if respect is the right word, but like he values the opinion of even like center left New York Times esque companies would post or write about him, right? So um, he clearly has some sort of obsession with it and being viewed like as this like perfect figure at all times, right? And it makes sense to me that he would stage this type of shooting while the press is around, because if the press are feeling like they're in danger, they're going to write articles that are somewhat protective or sensitive towards him, especially if they were in the room of an alleged shooting, right? If they're in the premises of the event, they're going to have more anxiety of it, and it's going to bias what they write or how they report on said situation. Um, and of course, Trump wants to have his ballroom built, um, and so that way he can do whatever he wants with that. And by the way, the taxpayers will be the people say, oh, he's paying for it himself. Bullshit. That's bullshit. But he doesn't want it to, he wants that ballroom to be built. And so he thinks that it makes sense to me that he would stage a shooting um, when the entire, large amounts of the press are at some, stupid dinner, which, again, Trump has mocked and ridiculed people of the press partially because he's so obsessed with them in a roundabout way. But it makes no sense they would all of a sudden have this like jovial invitation to all these people, and he'd want some sort of big event to happen to make sure that, people's minds become protective and fearful, which then allows him to get more of his agenda passed. In this case, I think it's mostly for the ballroom. But it might also just be to take some sort of light off of Iran and how badly he's fucked up the Iranian situation because he's a fucking idiot. He probably didn't even know. Like, I'll be honest, I didn't know what the Strait of Hormuz was until, 2 months ago or whatever. You know what the funny thing, though, is? He probably didn't either. And he's the fucking president. Um, so it makes sense to me that he would stage this type of event to get the press on his side, especially since they were in the room when it happens. And I think it kind of goes to like the ultimate conspiracy, which is just I think there's a lot of people, probably even in the mainstream media and amongst the higher ups, who are in the Epstein files. And I think that at this point now, if you are the mainstream media has been co-opted by big business interests to a large degree. I don't know if any of them are really trustworthy. Some are probably worse than others. But even places that were like considered maybe like centrist, or slightly left of center, these types of places, these are now all owned. I mean, people like the Ellisons are now buying stakes into some of these, the non-Fox. And we're not talking just Fox News and OAN and these crazy Newsmaxes. We're not talking about these like far extreme well, I guess they have websites too, but we're not talking about these extreme news network channels. We're talking like even the ones that are just like mainstream corporate, but maybe they had like a center left, or they had correspondents that were like kind of just like you're like more, I don't know if normal's the right word, but like not super political. Like for example, someone like Fareed Zakaria wasn't really like super political, but his reportings every fucking Sunday or whatever would have like a political slant to him probably, but that's about it. But all of these people I think are actually in the Epstein files, and he has not we all know that there's large amounts that have been redacted that shouldn't have been redacted. Large amounts of the perpetrators have their names redacted and not the victims. And then there's also large amounts of files that haven't been redacted, haven't been released. So basically, this is a massive cover-up where I'd be willing to bet large amounts of billionaire elites, some of whom are in the media and own some of these companies, basically have done some shady-ass fucking shit at at Epstein Ranch and Epstein Island. And I think that it's just a giant conspiracy of, or it's not even a conspiracy, it's just it's like a secret society um, that people need to just understand. It's mostly a bunch of wealthy billionaire elites who probably vote Republican or right leaning, and then they'll be like they tack on like some left or some slightly left of center guy. Like, is Bill Gates really left of center? I mean, not really, but like people for some reason thought like Bill Gates is like a lefty, which is ridiculous. But anyway, I think there's a bunch of these people that are basically a secret society and a secret cabal that are pulling a lot of strings, and they don't want to be exposed. And I think that staging an event where large amounts of the press are there, that will make it look like we need to be safer, we need to have more precautions, and we need to do what things like the ballroom and all this other shit. I think it's one giant conspiracy, a bunch of a secret society of billionaire elites. And, you know, I mean, I didn't realize it was this deep, I guess is what I should say. Um, because I think everybody knew that the wealthiest people kind of controlled a large chunk of our government. Even when I was born in the early to mid 90s and shit, I was like, the problems were probably even before I was fucking born in terms of like wealthy elites controlling the government. But I mean, I think at this point now, it's almost like everything is this planned. I mean, even things like the price of hamburger meat, I think is like literally a coordinated thing. Even things like I know like the avian flu caused the egg prices to go up, but it's almost like I kind of think that, like, well, it was an election season and they wanted to have something, and it's almost they spike the amount of avian flu or something in these fucking chickens and shit. I don't know. That's maybe a little bit past my thought process for this video, at least for now. But I really think that almost everything is just coordinated, and people have the right to be super fucking pissed. And no, I don't believe that the shooter was a real I don't believe it was an active thing. I believe it was a coordinated thing by the Trump administration and his inner circle. The same thing also with Charlie Kirk. I wasn't a huge fan of the guy. I thought he was a bit of a concern troll bitch. But I don't think that some radical leftist killed him. No, I think that somebody. I honestly think it was probably the person who killed him. Supposedly, he had a trans girlfriend, I think, or was a trans roommate or something, and so people immediately think he's progressive. I disagree. I think he was maybe just one of those types of right wing, kind of like Groyper adjacent people who are obsessed with like what they call like traps and stuff from back in the 4chan days of the like late 2000s. And I think it was just someone like that. I don't think Charlie Kirk. I think it was either A, it was a planned event where they used him as the scapegoat, or B, he's not even the shooter at all himself. It might not even be him. So that's how crazy this everything is now. But yeah, the ballroom, the whole, it's all bullshit. It was used to try to rummage up more support for the ballroom, throw people off the scent of the Epstein files, throw people off the scent of what he's doing and how badly he fucked up the Iran shit, something that nobody fucking wanted. And the American people, again, Kamala would not have done any of this. I don't think she would have been great, but she would not have been this. And I'm tired of, like, look, I think there's a lot of people who just couldn't vote for her because they're mad they're not getting their dicks wet. And the only difference between me and them is I wish more women wanted to go out on dates too. Some of them with me, some of them with other people. I don't want anybody to be lonely, but I'm not gonna fucking believe a con man like Trump just because I'm mad that women aren't horny. Anyway, but that's what I think. Kamala would have been better. I've said it numerous times now, and that's why I voted for her. And the people who vote for Trump thinking he's going to smash a deep state are some of the dumbest people who have ever walked this fucking earth. Literally. If you believe Trump was going to uncover the deep state, you are so fucking stupid. Oh, it's beyond. You're beyond. It's like you're just so, just beyond. You're not even stupid. You're worse. You make stupid people look brilliant. So yeah, Trump's a fucking clown. MAGA's fucking stupid. And no, the answer isn't to go even like further, further America first. That's so fucking dumb. Just my thoughts, and I'm out.